Good morning, everybody. This is Judith Aco. You're listening to Mad Love. Let's get into it. Still very, very cold here. I still have my heater going. Yeah, seems like we got our Arctic blast a little earlier than usual. I know that snowstorm on Monday really blew people away because, sorry. Oh, excuse me. Because I haven't yawned all morning. Rude. Because we had snow over the weekend, and then they said it was going to be Monday night, and it was totally Monday morning. Gee. Anyway, so some final thoughts on the Puff documentary. I enjoyed it. I thought it was well done. They did leave a lot of things out, though. Like Kim Porter's murder, the woman he was with the longest with all the kids. People suspect he had a lot to do with that. There are a lot of young people who just died around him. It doesn't make any sense. Like Shakir Stewart was friends with Kim Porter, and she had been confiding in him, and then he suddenly dies. I wonder who killed Chris Lighty. That was always weird. These were all music people. They were in the music industry. Their paths would have crossed with Puffy. And if he was as insanely jealous as this documentary portrays him to be, and as he seems to be, I mean, just anything could have set him off. And I don't see a path for him coming back and being famous and dancing and all that, because you know what? People know way too much about you now. We know how disgusting you are, how willing you are to rape people and drug them. I don't know when that became, I guess it's just always been around, because Bill Cosby, we found out he did the same thing. Giving people quaaludes and having sex with them. Like, there's plenty of people who will just have sex with you. So there's something wrong with you that you feel you have to drug and attack them. It's like you get off on knowing you took something from them without their will. That is definitely criminal-minded and definitely something that should keep someone in prison. But it seems as if you have money, you can just hire a legal team to get you out of it. I'm not sure why I keep yawning. I'm so sorry. I haven't yawned since I woke up. I feel very alert. I've been up for an hour or two, and now I'm yawning. I'm just so relaxed with my podcast. And those are global yawns. My Spotify Unwrapped says I'm pretty big in Norway. So thanks for that. And Trinidad and Tobago and Brazil. Like, wow, that is really, really cool. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Because, I'm really just talking to myself for 15, 20 minutes a day here. And the fact that people listen to this podcast and enjoy it is really amazing. And, I've had to vent a lot about a lot of different issues. And this was the first year in many years that I didn't have to do any caregiving at all. And it's been glorious. But thank you so much for your support. I do believe this podcast would be as big as Joe Rogan's if I didn't have to spend 5 years of it talking about caregiving. But that's what was happening to me in real time. So if you ever really want to hear, what it's like to have an Alzheimer's patient in real time, there's a lot of very powerful episodes on here dealing with the hospitals, trying to get sleep, experimenting with CBD, all of that. It's documented here, and I've been convinced by my friends and that great Unwrapped to not abandon this podcast. I probably will retool it, give it a little bit more structure, or not. That's the beauty of Mad Love. We just out here. We just exist. But yeah, I don't see a comeback for Puff. I don't see him being able to get back in society and throw big parties. And the way they charged this case, I will stand on it. They never really wanted to put him in prison. They wanted to take his blackmail operation because he was a drug addict. And I'm pretty sure his blackmail became basically just a bunch of his pornos. And I'm sure people were like, yeah, we need to hire somebody else to do this. And you don't have to believe me, but the government and the world runs on blackmail. And there's a great writer. Her name is Whitney Webb. And I can't remember the name of her books, but she has 2 real strong books on basically blackmail and Jeffrey Epstein and just how it works. Gosh, I can't think of the name of the books. They're so good, though. I want to say it's like The World According to Blackmail or something, but that's not it. Anyway, she's all around YouTube. She does a lot of really cool interviews. It's called One Nation Under Blackmail. There's 2 of them. And it goes, One Nation Under Blackmail, the sordid union between intelligence and crime that gave rise to Jeffrey Epstein. So there's a volume 1 and there's a volume 2. And here's the thing. I don't think he was alone, because Puff had a whole bunch of people at his parties, and he was also videotaping every room. So you have to think, if everybody's drugging and raping folks, and somebody's got a video of it, and they told us out of his California mansion, they pulled just reams and reams and reams of footage, and they never told us what they did with it. And the way things are going, it was probably for sale to the highest bidder. So I don't see him getting back into society and living any kind of normal life. Plus, he's got all those civil suits. Is he going to go to court on each and every single one of them? Is he going to try to settle them? I think someone decided to stop protecting him, and he got, violated and opened up to the regular justice system. And it might have been those Ciroc people, the people, Diageo, because Puff was suing them, saying they were racist. And they were probably like, you crazy Negro, what are you talking about? We've made you hundreds of millions of dollars. You did not become a billionaire off of your little dancing and singing from 1999. And let's be honest, he was not a good he was a good dancer. Nothing that would, for his era, for the hip hop era, Puff with the shiny suits and the dancing, that was a thing. And it was huge. I was alive. I was young during that phase. I was the target demo. And I went to college with him, and I was proud of him, even though we weren't friends. But I thought, man, this is really cool. And all the twirling and dancing, that was great for that era. He looks crazy doing it at 56, and your body don't stay packed up the way it used to. And your joints and muscles, everything don't move the way it used to move. So what you did at 26 that looks dope looks goofy at 56. And no one's going to want to watch that anyway. And he wasn't a good rapper. I couldn't stand his rapping. You can hate me now. I do. I hate your rapping. It sounds bad. And in the documentary, Mark Curry does an imitation. And it's so funny because it's like, this dude was not a natural. He wanted so bad. You could see, and I remember when he used to dress like Tupac. There was a stretch where Puff was always in Versace. So there's a picture where Puffy's dressed in like a bow tie and a suit and a bowler. And he's standing next to Tupac, who looks like he can't stand this dude, who has on like a turtleneck, a leather vest, and he just is, he's got on a cool outfit, but Puff's dressed like, he's from England. And then I remember shortly thereafter, when Tupac was walking around in those Versace shirts, all of a sudden here comes Puffy in Versace shirts. And it's like, now that I look back, he was so pick me. He really, really was insecure. And when I tell you insecure little men, you know, are dangerous for the world, they are. And that is what we're living through. We're living through revenge of the nerds, people who weren't popular. And then they make so much money, they weaponize it. You know, that's why you got all these tech billionaires. They're ready to put the world on the verge of extinction because they weren't popular and no one liked them. You know, Elon Musk doesn't have any real friends. He's a weirdo. If you look up weirdo, you'll see his face right there. He is definitely different. And then you got Zuckerberg, who's finally, I mean, for years he looked like a robot. Now the boy is, you know, the puppet's become a boy. He looks more normal for him, but, you know, for years he just looked like he was like getting his ass kicked every day at his company for his lunch money. Oh, that's the CEO. I don't care. Kick his ass, get his lunch money. You know, all these dudes. We could be here for hours, like all of them. So we're living through this revenge of the nerds. I can't wait for it to be over. I'm tired of everybody trying to control everybody. You dig? Like, that's really what this is. All of this is about control. And everybody thinks they need to run everybody else's lives because they're smarter or they have more money or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's not up to you to tell other people how to live their lives. You just have to live your own life and have your own experiences. Just because you got rich doesn't mean you're smart. It doesn't make you a good leader. It doesn't make you compassionate. And that's the things you need from a leader, especially like a government leader. We need people who aren't so willing to be bought off and stand up for something and believe in something. And I get it, it's treacherous. But you know when it's not treacherous is when you fucking fight back. When they know they can't roll you or that you're not afraid and that you're willing to die on your business and your principles and your character, that's when they go, oh, let's fuck with somebody else because these people, they have too much character. And that's the America we all thought we were living in. And then now you just finding out people have just been dropping dimes on everybody. Like, I'll take your $1 million and sell out my constituency. No problem. You know, it's really, really insane. And I'll be glad when this chapter is over. It's just been bizarre. You know, I was watching, Charlie Sheen was talking about his life, which is very interesting. But the one thing that really stuck with me, I can't get my words out, that stuck with me is his family moved to Malibu like in the 60s. And Malibu wasn't what it is now. It was like country roads on the beach. Like it was just, nobody was millionaires. I think Sean Penn's family was over there. And apparently it was just, a blue collar neighborhood and kids played and it was free and kind of like a little counterculture fun enclave for working class people, which is not what it's known to be now. Now it's just like a rich people, his family couldn't afford to live there now. And that's what's fascinating to me about California. There was a time when it was like affordable and people had families there and everybody wasn't rich and famous and everybody didn't have to live in, certain neighborhoods. It was just sort of more equal. And now with these fires and everything, it's just like, wow, everything's going to skyrocket. Where will the normal people live? Where will regular people be? I don't know. It's curious. But I feel like all of this is just going to implode in on itself and then it'll get great again. And people aren't going to be fighting and worried. That's what governments do. And It'll just be nice. It'll just be nice to be a citizen of a sovereign country and we just mind our own businesses. You know? Dare to dream. So anyway, I hope you have a great weekend. I recommend watching that documentary. It's very powerful. He's victimized a lot of people and their pain is obvious. And, you know, you never know what someone is hiding or carrying with them. And I'm sure a lot of these people never thought they would ever have to talk about, how badly he treated them. And these were people that loved Puff, people that wanted to work for him. And then they found out like he was a monster. And he wasn't just playing one on TV. And there are more people like him than you think. They're insecure, they're narcissistic, and they'd rather pretend to be good than actually be good. And they are willing to do almost anything to keep the truth from coming out. So that ought to scare us all. Have a great weekend. Be safe, for real.